So the 15th anniversary of Friendship is Magic just passed a few months ago. I'm a little late on that. But did Hasbro do anything special for it? Did we finally get that box set that many people, myself included, have been hoping for? No, we did not. We got some trading cards, a t-shirt, and a greatest hits final record. I was really hoping for that box set, but this works too. As someone who has inherited a pretty sizable record collection from my grandmother, I happen to own a record player. Let me just pop this on and give it a listen, and I'll get back to you on if it's any good or not. It's not. It's not good. I paid like $45 for this. So where do I start? Let's start with the track list, right? First song of side A, it's the extended version of the theme song. Honestly, I agree with that. You have to have it on here. It's the first song you hear at the start of every episode. Song 2 is Unleash the Magic from Friendship Games, which, while it's my favorite Equestria Girls movie, it's kind of weird to have a villain song as the second song on a greatest hits album. The transition is also just very weird from the poppy, upbeat opening theme to an orchestral, sinister villain theme. But okay, it's fine. Then is Open Up Your Eyes from the 2017 movie, which is Tempest Shadow's song, the villain of the movie. Well, one of the villains of the movie. Again, kind of weird to have back-to-back villain songs, but not a terrible choice. And then right after that, we go into a song where Applejack and her family sing about how much they're a great family and apples to the core, which probably one of my favorite songs of the whole show. But again, having it after such a somber and sinister song by Tempest Shadow talking about her backstory and how she was ostracized for being different, so she wants to take over the world or whatever, it's just jarring. Next is the Smile song, which, yeah, it deserves to be here because it's one of those songs that kind of just escaped containment and everybody knew for a while, so okay. Then it's another song from the movie Time to Be Awesome, which is a good song, but I mean, Awesome as I Wanna Be was right there, and that's more so of Rainbow Dash's theme. It's at this point I've realized they have 0 songs from Rainbow Rocks or the first movie on here, which is a travesty. No Awesome as I Wanna Be, no Welcome to the Show, no Let's Have a Battle, no nothing. Let me get a greatest hits album with nothing on it. Nothing? Yeah, also, I forgot Bab Seed is also on this record. I don't know why I skipped over it, but it's fine, I guess. The next song is A True True Friend, which, yeah, I think deserves to be here. It is one of the more iconic songs from Season 3, so yeah. Then it's followed by What My Cutie Mark Is Telling Me, which, did they watch the episode? Because True True Friend comes after What My Cutie Mark Is Telling Me. It's just so weird listening to it. And also, True True Friend is the last song of side A, so to go to What My Cutie Mark Is Telling Me, you have to flip the record over. Alright, song 2 of side B is The Spectacle, which I think there are better songs from season 5 that could have been here, but okay, also I could probably say something about how it's a song about, putting on a facade in an attempt to make money and gain fans, which is kind of what this was for, but whatever. Next is Raise This Barn, which I don't understand it being here because Apples to the Core is already here, which is an infinitely better song for Applejack, so whatever, maybe it's here because of the old racist barn meme, if you're old enough to remember that. Then we get a song from the 4th Equestria Girls movie, Legend of Everfree, the song of the same name, the opening song, which is a good song, but there are just way better songs from that movie that could have been here. And then after that is This Day Aria, which, yes, definitely has to be here. It's one of the best songs of the entire show. No ifs, ands, or buts. Weird placement, though, having it after Legend of Everfree. Then is Akadeka from Friendship Games, which I think that should be here. It's the song that happens at the midpoint of the movie and is the backdrop to a bulk of the events at the Friendship Games, so no complaints from me there. Then there's the Laughter song, which I I honestly, this whole time, thought was just called Giggle at the Ghosties. I don't think it deserves to be here. I understand why it is, because it's technically the first musical number of the show, but it's just not a good song. And then the final song to cap this off is We Got This Together from the 2017 movie, which, if you're gonna have Open Up Your Eyes, it makes sense to have We Got This Together on here because it's also the first song of the movie, so okay. So it's not the track list that I expected for a greatest hits album. I mean, seriously, they have songs from Friendship Games and Legend of Everfree, but not Equestria Girls 1 or Rainbow Rocks. I'm still not over that. I just don't understand how you can call it a greatest hits album if you're not including everything. You have to include each era of the show and the movies. So let's fix that, shall we? I went back and forth between two main ideas for this part of the video, and the first idea was to just revamp it with better songs and keep it a single record, but that ran into constraints because there are songs that I wanted to include that I just wouldn't be able to due to space. So I decided to go with my second idea, which was a double album. 2 records, 8 songs on each side, 4 sides for a total of 32 songs. Honestly, the hardest part was just picking good songs. You may not agree with all of my choices, but I think I've put together what could be considered a better greatest hits album than what we actually got. I decided to go with the bare minimum of 2 songs per season to encapsulate each era of the show. Record 1, side A, first song, it's the extended theme. I'm keeping that at the first song because it just makes sense. It's an iconic song. Everybody knows the iconic opening, even if they didn't watch the show like you and I. The second song is Winter Wrap Up. I mean, it's the best song of season 1. How could it not be on here? As we move into season 2, don't bite my head off for this, but I'm swapping the Smile song for BBBFF, Big Brother Best Friend Forever. I just think it's a better song, which will also pair nicely with the next song that I'm keeping from the original album, This Day Aria, because, again, best song in the whole show. For songs 5 and 6 moving into season 3, I'm gonna go ahead and just keep what my cutie mark is telling me, followed by A True True Friend in the proper listening order. Again, I feel like they're good choices for this. Also, season 3 didn't really have that many songs. Well, actually, no. Season 3 had 8 songs. I know that because 4 of them are on the original album, which is half of the songs on season 3, by the way. Song 7 and the first song of season 4 has to be You'll Play Your Part. I mean, it's a great spectacle. It's in the opening 2-parter, all the princesses singing, and most importantly, it's the first song where Princess Luna sings. Then I'm actually going to keep Apples to the Core because it's my favorite song of season 4. I mean, I fell in love with it the moment they showed the animatic for it at Comic-Con. Now, as we flip over to side B of record 1, we're starting to get into the tough choices. The ones before this were kind of just no-brainers to me, but I really had to think about these upcoming selections. For the first song of side B, pretty much any song from season 5 could have gone here. They're all really good for the most part, but I decided to start it with The Pony I Wanna Be. Now, you might not agree with that, but I do think that in the episode it's in, it is an amazing song, and you might not like Diamond Tiara or the fact that the show tried to redeem pretty much all of its villains except for the ones they didn't. But this is a great song. It's a great ballad about how Diamond Tiara actually wants to change and be a better pony, but she's being held back by her family and how she was raised. Speaking of Crusaders of the Lost Mark, I have to put We'll Make Our Mark on here. I mean, it has to be here. If we're talking about celebrating the most important milestones in the show, well, you have to have the song that follows the Cutie Mark Crusaders getting their cutie marks. As we move into season 6, the first song that I chose to represent it is Say Goodbye to the Holiday. It's mainly just because of the fact that I often find myself humming it when I'm not even thinking about it. Plus, it's in a great holiday special that's a flip on A Christmas Carol. And the next song might be a bit of a surprise because I never really hear anybody talking about it, but I would put A Changeling Can Change. One, it's a solo song sung by Spike, which if I'm remembering correctly, I think this is his only solo song. Also, season 6 doesn't really have that many memorable songs in my opinion. Sorry, season 6 fans. Moving on to our first rep from season 7, you know I had to put You're in My Head Like a Catchy Song from The Perfect Pair. The Perfect Pair is the best episode of season 7. Which is saying something because season 7 is a pretty lackluster season, but this episode is phenomenal. Not only do we see Applejack's parents for the first and only time, but we get to see them fall in love, and there's this great song, and we get William Shatner voicing a pony, goddammit. The second song that I would pick for season 7 would be Flawless. Not because it's a particularly good song, but because season 7 doesn't really have that many memorable songs to me that, would be like, oh yeah, I remember that. But it's a catchy enough song. Look, moving into the season 8 reps, they're here just purely because I love them. All right, the first song would be A Kieran Tale because it's a great catchy song, sung by Autumn Blaze, who's one of my favorite characters, about how the Kieran came to take their vow of silence. The second song I would pick would be We're Friendship Bound, which is a great duet with Trixie and Starlight Glimmer, because the burgeoning friendship between Starlight Glimmer and Trixie is one of the best things about the later seasons, in my opinion. It's at this point when I was selecting songs that I realized that 2 songs from each season and the 5 movies would only equal 32 songs, which gives me a bit of wiggle room to kind of flex in some songs that I just want to have in there. So I'm going to do that with the season 9 representation. I'm going to put the first song of season 9 on my hypothetical record as being big is all it takes. I just feel like we needed another CMC song, and also, if I remember correctly, this is their last solo song of the entire series. I also noticed that we have a distinct lack of villain songs at this point, so I'm going to put Better Way to Be Bad. Look, say what you want about the Legion of Doom being a mishmash of recycled villains from past seasons, which they were, but this song is just really funny. 1, it's catchy and well written, well performed, and 2, I just love watching all their egos clash as they try to learn the concept of teamwork. Okay, let's put a pin in season 9 as I need to correct a horrendous lack of Equestria Girls representation, mainly the first 2 movies. So I'm putting the Cafeteria song on here from the first Equestria Girls movie. It's the most recognizable song from that movie, but for Rainbow Rocks, I might be doing just a smidge of overcorrection by adding 3 songs from Rainbow Rocks. Is 3 too many? No. I would legitimately put the entire soundtrack for Rainbow Rocks on here if I could. So the 3 I'm going with are Let's Have a Battle, Awesome As I Wanna Be, the extended version from the DVD extras, and Welcome to the Show. Feels pretty good. 2 songs by the Dazzlings that are, in my opinion, the 2 most memorable songs of the movie, and one that's just my favorite, because Rainbow Dash is my favorite character. Now, I'm actually going to keep Akadeka and Unleash the Magic, because I think they're both great songs from friendship games, but I'm actually going to throw in one more that's out there, specifically the cut duet version. Not to say that the version we got in the movie was bad, I just prefer this version better for the sheer fact that Rebecca Choiquette does an amazing job harmonizing with herself. Moving on to Legend of Everfree, while I think that the song of the same name is good and quite catchy, it just doesn't fit on a Greatest Hits album. It's this catchy, like, road trip type song opening the movie, basically telling you, like, yes, this is the Legend of Everfree, and this is the stuff that's gonna happen, and we're gonna get into some shenanigans while at this camp. It doesn't really fit. So instead, I would actually swap it for The Midnight in Me, an arguably better song that is also way more integral to the plot of the movie it's from. It's also the second best song of the movie. Speaking of which, the best song of the movie is also on here. We Will Stand Forever Free. It's not only a great villain song, well performed, it's just fantastic. Why wouldn't you have it on here? You had the villain song from the other 2 movies. This is a very opinionized list, and I'm not sorry. After that, for representation for the 2017 movie, I actually decided to keep We Got This Together and Open Up Your Eyes. They're great songs that contrast one another, and are just fantastic in general. The next 2 songs might come out of left field for you, as I really think we should have some representation from the Rainbow Road Trip special. So I would actually put End of the Rainbow, which is a very somber song about how a town slowly lost its values to the point where the color quite literally faded from Hope Hollow, And then contrast that with the song at the end of the special, Living in Color, which is a song sung by Twilight and her friends, as the color comes back to Hope Hollow and it goes back to being a great, happy little town. But I don't really hear too many people talking about Rainbow Road Trip, so I think it deserves some representation here. Now we get to the final slot, the final song of my version of the Greatest Hits album, and you might have seen this coming, but in my opinion, both thematically and just in general, it has to be The Magic of Friendship Grows from the season 9 finale, well, the series finale from The Last Problem. Now, you might have your own opinions on the series finale. Lord knows plenty of people do and have made videos about their opinions on this episode, but this song is arguably, or not arguably, in my opinion, the best thing to come out of that episode. Not only is it a great song that encapsulates all of the lessons that the show tried to teach about friendship, but it also features every single character that's ever appeared in the show. Main characters, background characters, named characters, unnamed characters, unknowns, fan favorites, they're all represented in some shape or form in this song in the background. And I'm not gonna lie, this line,
Oh, and how I used to wonder what friendship could be.
gives me goosebumps every time. It's simple, but it's a great flip on that lyric. That's my version of the Greatest Hits album. You may agree or disagree. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with my choices, or let me know what you would put on a Greatest Hits album. I really personally just hope that we get that box set eventually. Please? Please, Hasbro? It's free money. You love money. You're like $2 billion in debt. You need money. Ultimately, this record was made for you and I. You know, the people that have kept G4 alive over the years by rewatching it, talking about it, making videos about it, songs, fan art, fan animations, comics, fan fictions, the fans that have stayed dedicated. It's really disappointing that it doesn't contain some of the actual best songs that this era had to offer, and it feels like less of a greatest hits and more of a blatant cash grab on Hasbro's part. And hey, I understand I'm part of the problem. I mean, I bought the damn thing. Anyway, I've been the Wild Card, and as always, I will see you next time. Peace.